Students, today in this video we will discuss regarding the related aggregates of national income like GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP at market price and factor cost, as well as the concepts like private income, personal income and personal disposable income. But before starting the discussion regarding related aggregates of national income, we must clarify some concepts which are related to related aggregates of national income. They are the difference between domestic product and national product. What is the domestic product? What is the national product? What is factor cost and what is market price? And what is gross value and what is net value? After knowing all these concepts, we can easily understand and easily estimate or calculate these aggregates of national income. Let us start our discussion on these aggregates. But before that, I would like to request you all to like, share, give your comments and subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed the channel yet. Okay, let us start our discussion. At first, what is GDP, gross domestic product, and what is gross national product? It means what is the difference between domestic product and national product? You see, gross domestic product means production of goods and services within the territory of a country, within the domestic territory of a country, or within the political boundary of a country, either by the nationals or by the foreigners during a given year. It means either by the normal residents of a country or by the foreigners or by the people of other countries, what they produce within the domestic territory, within the political boundary of a country during a given year, that is known as gross domestic product. That is the meaning of domestic product. Domestic product refers to the total production within the domestic territory of a country. How much goods and services are produced within the domestic territory, within the political boundary of a country, either by the people of that country or by the people of other countries who are living in that country. That is known as GDP, gross domestic product. But what is gross national product? GNP. What is national product? Production of goods and services by the nationals of a country, by the normal residents of a country, either within the country or outside the country during a given year. How much goods and services are produced by the nationals of a country, by the normal residents of a country, either they are living within their country or outside their country, that does not matter, but how much goods and services are produced by the nationals of a country during an accounting year, during a given year, is known as gross national product. When we add NFIA, that is net factor income from abroad, to gross domestic product, it gives rise to gross national product. So what is NFIA? NFIA means it is the difference in between what the people of a particular country are getting from other countries as factor income in that year, minus what the people of other countries are getting or earning from that country as factor income. So what we are getting from other countries minus what we are giving to other countries in a particular year, that is known as NFIA, net factor income from abroad. What is the factor income of the people of our country minus what is the factor income of the people of other countries from our country, that is known as NFIA, and when we add this NFIA to gross domestic product, we will get gross national product. So you see, NFIA means net factor income from abroad. If NFIA is positive, that means we are getting more than what we are giving to other people, other countries' people in a particular year, then it becomes positive. NFIA becomes positive means GNP will be greater than GDP. GNP will be greater than GDP, gross domestic product, if NFIA is positive. Right. But if NFIA is 0, it means what we are getting as factor income from abroad is equal to what they are getting from our country. Then it becomes equal. 0. NFI is 0. So in that case, GNP will be equal to GDP. GNP will be equal to GDP when NFIA is 0. Right. Then if NFIA becomes negative, that means we are getting less than what we are giving to other people. We are getting less income, factor income from abroad than what we are giving as factor income to people of foreign other countries in a particular year. Then NFIA becomes negative. In that case, what will be GNP? GNP will be less than GDP if NFIA becomes negative. So when we add NFIA to GDP, then it will give rise to GNP. Or to calculate GDP from GNP, we have to deduct NFIA from GNP. After deducting NFIA from GNP, we will get GDP, right? So this is how to calculate gross national product when gross domestic product is given. Then we will discuss. So we know what is the difference between domestic product, what is the and national product. Domestic product means total product of goods and services within the domestic territory of a country in a given year. National product means what is the total product by the nationals of a country within a given year, either they are residing in that country or in other countries, right? Then we will discuss regarding factor cost and market price. What is the difference between factor cost and market price, and how to calculate market price if factor cost is given, or how to calculate factor cost when market price is given, right? Factor cost. What is factor cost? Cost of factors of production used in the production process is known as factor cost. Factor cost means how much cost we have to bear, we are bearing, we incurred, or what expenditure we incurred on factors of production. We know to produce anything, for the production of any good, we want factors like land, labor, capital and organization, and after using them we have to make payment in the form of rent, wage, interest and profit, right? So these cost of factors in the process of production is known as factor cost. And what is market price? Market price means price of the good at the market. Price of a good at the market. It is different from factor cost. Market price is always more than factor cost. Yes, because when we calculate market price, we have to add NIT. You see, when NIT means net indirect tax, which is to be added to factor cost to get market price. What is NIT? What is net indirect tax? Net indirect tax means how it is calculated, that is equal to indirect tax minus subsidy, right? Government imposes levies indirect tax on goods. Sometimes government gives subsidy on particular goods. So when we deduct subsidy from indirect tax, we get NIT, that is net indirect tax. You see, we will give an example. Suppose the factor cost of a product is rupees 50. Factor cost is rupees 50 of a particular unit of a product. Rupees 50. And for that unit, we have to pay 5 rupees as indirect tax. Indirect tax 5 rupees. But the government has given the subsidy of 1 rupee per unit of the commodity. Rupee 1 rupee. So what is market price? Market price is, we know, that is factor cost. What is factor cost in this example? Rupees 50 plus what is NIT? NIT is equal to indirect tax minus subsidy. Indirect tax is 5 rupees and subsidy is 1 rupee. So indirect tax minus subsidy, that is 5 minus 1, that it becomes to 4 rupees. So 50 plus 4 NIT, rupees 4 is NIT. It is factor cost. It is NIT. That becomes to 54 rupees. Right? It is market price. You see here, market price is 54 rupees, whereas factor cost is 50 rupees. Because how? So market price is always more than factor cost. It is greater than factor cost because NIT is added to market price. Right? Similarly, when market price is given, if we are asked to find out the value of factor cost, then we have to deduct NIT from MP to get FC. Right? Now we will discuss regarding gross value and net value. What is gross value and what is net value? Gross value means total value of goods and services produced in a particular year. How much goods and services are produced? What is their value? We have to calculate the total value. Total value of these goods and services is known as gross value. But what is net value? Net value means value of goods and services after deducting depreciation value D from gross value. If we want to calculate net value, then we have to deduct D from gross value, that is depreciation value. What is depreciation value? What is depreciation value? Depreciation value means in the production process, we have to repair some machines, we have to replace some parts of the machine. For that we have to bear cost, that is known as depreciation cost or depreciation value. Or we can know it as cost of consumption, capital consumption, cost of capital consumption, right? So you see, in order to calculate net value from gross value, we have to deduct depreciation value. So gross value, net value is equal to, we can write it like this, net value is equal to gross value minus depreciation. If gross value is given and it is asked to find out net value, simply we have to deduct depreciation value from gross value in order to get net value. When net value is given and it is asked to find out gross value, just add the value of D, depreciation value, depreciation cost, to net value so that we can get gross value, right? Then we will discuss regarding after knowing all these concepts, the difference between domestic product, national product, factor cost and market price, then gross value and net value. Now we will start our discussion regarding the related aggregates of national income like GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP, etc. So now we will start our discussion regarding what is gross domestic product at market price, GDP MP. GDP MP refers to market value of final goods and services, all the final goods and services produced during a given year within the domestic territory of a country. Remember, GDP, gross domestic product, we are discussing about domestic product means within the domestic territory of a country, what is produced and what is its value. That is known as gross domestic product at market price, GDP at market price. It includes production within the domestic territory by both the residents as well as the non-residents of a country, by both the nationals as well as the foreigners of a country within the domestic territories of the country. It is calculated, how it is calculated GDP-MP? It is calculated by multiplying the volume of final goods and services with their respective prices. You see how it is calculated GDP-MP? GDP-MP is calculated by multiplying the volume of the commodities produced with their respective prices. Here you see GDP-MP is calculated how it is. It is calculated GDP-MP is equal to P1 Q1 P2 Q2 plus P3 Q3 plus P4 Q4 plus P5 Q5 up to Pn Qn. If n products are produced in a country, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n products are produced in a country in a given year, find out the volume of each product produced and multiply them with their respective price. Similarly, multiply all the products, volume of all the products with their respective prices and add them so that you can get GDP-MP, right? So this is the process how to calculate GDP-MP. That is P1 Q1 plus P2 Q2 plus P3 Q3 plus P4 Q4 up to Pn Qn. Multiply volume of each product with their price, respective price. Volume of each product with their respective price. Each product with their respective price. Right? Then we will get, by adding these values, we will get GDP-MP. Right? Now we will say, what is GNP-MP? GDP-MP is given. How to calculate GNP-MP? GNP-MP or gross national product at market price is the market value of all the final goods and services produced by the normal residents of a country, by the nationals of a country, whether they are living within their country or outside the country during a given year. It does not matter in which part of the world they are living. So GNP means, at market price we are discussing about GNP-MP, the market price of all the final goods and services are produced by the nationals of a country, whether they are living in their country or in other countries. Right? How to calculate this GNP-MP? GNP-MP can be calculated by adding NFIA to GDP-MP. When we add net factor income from abroad to GDP-MP, we get NFIA. We have clarified what is NFIA, right? Net factor income from abroad means the difference between what we are getting as factor income from other countries and what the people of other countries are getting as factor income from our country. So, when we add NFIA to GDP-MP, we get GNP-MP. Remember this. Domestic product given national product asked means, it is asked to find out national product means, how to calculate? Domestic product given means, add NFIA to get national product, right? If GDP value given and GNP value is asked to calculate, then just add NFIA, right? If GNP is given and GDP is asked, then deduct NFIA from GNP value so that we can get GDP value, right? So here GNP-MP can be calculated by adding net factor income from abroad, right, to GDP-MP. Now we will discuss about how to calculate GDP at FC, gross domestic product at factor cost. Gross domestic product at factor cost can be defined as the value of all the final goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country in a given year, estimated on the basis of payment made to factors of production. How it is calculated? It is calculated by deducting net indirect tax from GDP at market price. GDP at market price is given. How to calculate GDP at factor cost? Market price and factor cost, the difference between factor cost and market price, I have told you. The difference between market price and factor cost is NIT. Net indirect tax. What is net indirect tax? Indirect tax levied, imposed by the government on a particular good minus the subsidy given to that commodity. So, when we deduct net indirect tax from gross domestic product at market price, we will get gross domestic product at factor cost, right? So, GDP FC can be calculated by deducting NIT from GDP MP. So, you know that GDP MP is always greater than GDP FC. GDP MP is always greater than GDP FC because market price is always greater than factor cost. Okay. When we add NIT to a factor cost, then only we will get market price, right? Then we will discuss regarding GNPFC. We have calculated GDPFC. How to calculate GDPFC we have discussed. Now we will go for GNPFC, gross national product at factor cost. Gross national product at factor cost refers to the value of all final goods and services produced by the nationals of a country during a given year on the basis of the cost of factors of production used. How it is calculated? It can be calculated by deducting NIT from GNP-MP or by adding NFIA to GDP-MP. You see here, it is written GNP-FC, gross national product at factor cost, is equal to gross national product at market price minus NIT. Right. When we deduct NIT, net indirect tax, from GNP at market price, we will get GNP at factor cost. I have told you to find out the value of factor cost, just deduct NIT from market price. To find out the value of market price, just add NIT to factor cost. So, GNP at factor cost can be calculated by deducting NIT, net indirect tax, from GNP at MP, gross national product at market price. Remember these things. We have already discussed. That's why we have clarified the concepts. The difference between factor cost and market price is NIT, nothing else. So, market price is given means deduct NIT to get factor cost. Factor cost is given means add NIT to market, add NIT to get a market price, right? Then what is GNPFC? Gross national product at factor cost. In other way, we have calculated. If GDPFC is given, gross domestic product at factor cost is given, how to calculate gross national product factor cost? Here domestic product given, gross domestic product at factor cost, gross national product at factor cost. How to convert domestic product into national product? Just add NFIA. Just add NFIA, net factor income from abroad, to factor cost to get GNPFC. So, GNPFC is equal to GDPFC plus NFIA, right? Remember this thing. Then how to calculate NNP at MP, net national product at market price? How to calculate it? You see, net national product at market price can be calculated by deducting depreciation value D from gross national product at market price. So, NNP MP is equal to GNP minus D. When we deduct depreciation value from gross national product at market price, we will get net national product and market price. NNP, here you see, gross value is given. How to calculate net value? Just deduct D, value of depreciation, value of capital consumption, cost of capital consumption, right? So, to get NNPMP, we have to deduct depreciation value from GNPMP, right? This is a formula, how to calculate. Then another way is there, many ways are there, by many things we can calculate, many ways are there to calculate. One, some aggregates are given, we can find out other aggregates easily. Just remember the things, the concepts we have clarified at first, right? Or by adding NFI to NDP at market price. NDP at market price given means when NNP at market price is asked, net domestic product at market price is given, net national product at market price is asked to find out. How to find out? Just add NFIA. Just add NFIA. Net factor income from abroad is to be added to net domestic product at market price, so that we can get net national product at market price, right? So NNPMPs can also be calculated by adding NFIA to NDPMP. Remember this. Then we will discuss regarding net national product at factor cost, NNPFC. Net national product at factor cost can be calculated by deducting depreciation value from GNP at factor cost. NNPFC, GNPFC given means how to calculate NNPFC? Gross value given, net value how to calculate? Just deduct depreciation value. Just deduct D. So NNPFC, here you see NNPFC is calculated by deducting depreciation value from gross national product at factor cost. NNP at factor cost is equal to GNP at factor cost minus depreciation value. GNP at factor cost minus D. Right? We know this thing. That gross value is given, net value is asked means we have to deduct depreciation value. Right? And generally, gross value is more than net value because there is difference of D. In another way, we can calculate NNPFC by deducting NIT from NNPMP. Suppose NNPMP is given, net national product at market price is given, and it is asked to find out NNPFC, net national product at factor cost. How to calculate NNPFC from NNPMP? Market price is given, factor cost how to calculate? Just deduct NIT. Net indirect tax minus कीजिए, hala. So minus NNPMP minus NIT will give rise to NNPFC. NNPFC is equal to NNPMP minus NIT. Now we will go to discuss regarding NDPMP, net domestic product at market price. How to calculate NDPMP? NDPMP is the market value of the final goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country exclusive of depreciation value. What is produced within domestic territory of a country in a given year? Minus D. Minus D means gross value minus depreciation value. Naturally, it will give rise to net value, right? So NDP at market price can be calculated by deducting depreciation value or D from GDP at market price, or by deducting NFIA from NNP at market price, or we can add NIT to NDPFC to get NDPMP. Three ways are given actually to calculate NDPMP. How to calculate NDPMP? We have to first remember, when gross value is given, deduct D from gross value to get net value. So here you see NDPMP is equal to GDPMP minus depreciation value. NDPMP is equal to GDPMP minus depreciation value. When we subtract or deduct value of depreciation, capital consumption, cost from GDPMP, we will get NDPMP. Then another way is there, NDPMP is equal to NNPMP minus NFIA. You see here, second one. NDPMP is equal to NNPMP. If net national product at factor cost, net national product at market price is given, net domestic product at market price to find out. We have to find out NDPMP from NNPMP, then naturally what is the difference between national and domestic? That is NFIA. So when we deduct NFIA from NNPMP, we will get NDPMP, right? Then third one, you see, when NDPFC is given, how to calculate NDPMP? When we add NIT, net indirect tax, to NDPFC, factor cost, it is given at factor cost, the value is given at factor cost. It is asked to find the value at market price. So we have to add NIT, net indirect tax. So NDPMP can also be calculated from NDPFC by adding NIT to it, right? Next, we will discuss regarding net domestic product at factor cost, NDPFC. NDPFC can be calculated by deducting NIT from NDP at market price or by deducting depreciation value from GDP at FC. How to calculate NDPFC? NDPFC is equal to, you see, NDPFC is equal to NDPMP minus NIT. You see, market price, the value at market price is given. The value at factor cost is asked, means we have to deduct the value of NIT from market price so that we will get the value at factor cost. So NDPFC is equal to NDPMP minus NIT. Or we can calculate in another way by deducting depreciation value from gross value. If GDPFC is given, it is asked to find out the value of NDPFC. What we will to do? We will have to deduct the value of depreciation from GDPFC to get NDPFC, because we know that the difference between gross value and net value is depreciation value, right? To find out the net value, we have to deduct depreciation value from this gross value, right? So NDPFC is equal to GDPFC minus T. Now we will discuss some other aggregates of national income. What is private income? What is personal income? Then what is personal disposable income? Private income. Private income can be defined as the total income which accrues to private sector from all sources, either from within the country or from outside the country, right? So private income can be defined as total income which accrues to private sector, from all sources, either within the country or outside the country, right? And how it is calculated? You see, it is given how it is calculated, right? You see, income from private income is equal to income from, it is given, private income is equal to income from domestic product accruing to private sector plus net factor income from abroad plus current transfers from government plus current transfer from rest of the world plus interest on national debt. When we will use this formula, income from, we will add all these things, concepts, what we are getting from domestic product and what we are getting from as NFIA, what we are getting from current transfer from, what are the current transfers from, transfer payments from government as well as from rest of the world. Then we have to add interest on national debt to get private income, right? So private income is the income of the private sector from any source, right? From any source, right? Then we will discuss regarding personal income. Personal income is the income received by the individuals and households from all sources in the form of factor income and current transfers. You see how personal income is calculated. Personal income includes the income received by the households, right? So in relation to private income, I can say that some part of the profit is returned by the firms as undistributed profit or corporate saving, and some part of the profit is fixed by the government called corporate profit tax. So these two things, undistributed profit and corporate tax, when we will deduct these two things from private income, we can get personal income. It is a part of personal income, is a part of private income, right? So to get personal income, we have to deduct undistributed profit and corporate tax from private income. Right. Next, we will discuss what is personal disposable income. Personal disposable income is the income which the individuals or households can actually spend, either consume or save. How much they can spend, what is their spending capacity, what is the total amount of spending amount. Either they can consume from that amount or they can save. So these two, consumption plus saving, is known as disposable income. That is personal disposable income. And how to calculate personal disposable income? How to calculate it? Just by deducting direct personal taxes imposed levied by the government and fees and fines paid by the households for some benefits. What is remaining? Deduct these two from personal income so that we can get personal disposable income. So personal disposable income is equal to personal income minus direct personal taxes minus fees and fines paid by the household. So this is all about the related aggregates or important variants of national income. Thank you. Thank you all for listening to this video. All the best. Have a nice day. Thank you all.